I'm Gavin from Spitfire Engineering Services, and this is episode 3. In this episode, we've got cranes moving things and loading things out of the yard. We've got lots more build in the workshop. We've got installations on site. We've also got an interview with Dave at D&J Projects to find out what he really thinks of the latest Trommel that he's just bought. And I get to meet another YouTuber. Also, some of you have noticed what we're doing at the end of our videos. So go back and see if you've missed it and see what we've been doing at the end of our videos. It's a bit like Marvel, is all I'm going to say. So it's Monday morning, and as promised, we're going to move this machine here onto a flat rack, and this is actually going to Canada. So we've got a crane coming, should be here any time now. And this machine here is going to go on the crane hook, be loaded up and be sent on its way. Here is a shredder. There's 2 shafts inside at the top. If you have a look up there, you've got a couple of bearing caps there. The shafts are inside. Material gets loaded in the top. So this is inside the shredder. You've got these 2 shafts here with the big hooks on it, and whatever gets tipped in the top, these shafts turn and they rip it all apart and discharge it onto that conveyor below. So all the shredded material gets brought through the shafts and ends up on the conveyor below, and then it goes off to wherever this is feeding it. So this is the crane we're using from Morris Industrial at Leicester. Pretty big crane. This crane, I'm told, will lift 30 tons next to the trailer, and at 12 metres, which it probably is towards 12 metres out there now, it'll lift 8 ton. So it's a bit of a monster. We could probably do with one of these in our yard, to be honest, moving stuff around. Be quite nice. So it turns out that this is a little bit too wide for the container. So we're just making some minor adjustments, shall we say, to make sure that it fits. Let's have another go, see if it fits this time. And that is what you call a tight fit. In the last episode, I said our electric bill had gone through the roof in the last 2 years, and as I said, our electric bill a couple of years ago was about £8,500 for the year. This year it is 16,152. So Andrea is going to have a look through the comments, see who was the closest to that, and get in contact with them and send them a little goodie bag as promised. I'd like to thank everybody that actually participated in that, to be honest. I think some of the answers, I'm glad. I think the most was about 124,000. I'm pretty glad that it's not that, to be honest. As I say, it is pretty high compared to what it was. But no, that's what it is, and like I say, a goodie bag will be put in the post. So it's Tuesday morning, we're in the yard. Just thought I'd have a little walk around, see what's going on in the yard. and the first thing I come across is this eddy current here in the background. Let me just flip the camera around. So this is an eddy current that's come into us. It's a second-hand machine. We've shot blasted it and resprayed it, done some repair work to it, some panel work. There's still a cover to go on that motor that's damaged. Now, if you're not familiar with eddy currents, this is used to separate non-ferrous materials, so things like aluminium, copper, metal materials that are non-ferrous, and this sorts it. So what happens is the material goes in this end onto the belt, should be spread out, and then in the other end that you can't quite see that this motor drives, there is a, basically, to explain it simply, and that it's a spinning magnet. The magnet spins at high speed and creates an eddy current, and then as the material is going along the belt, when it gets to the other end, you've either got anything that's non-ferrous gets thrown by the drum and then falls down here, and then anything that is not non-ferrous drops down here, so it separates the two different waste streams from a mixed waste stream. So in the main fabrication workshop, we've got some more mini screen frames being made. Neil's just putting in the forklift pockets. So yeah, more mini screen frames going through the workshop. Just walking through metal cutting and just seeing what we've got being cut in here. We've got some components here. These are all more mini screen parts as well. Conveyor end plates, slats for the slatted tail drum, and then chutes. If anybody recognises these are the chutes that go on the bottom of the mini screens. And then on this we've got folded conveyor sections. So them sections there, they're going to have these plates here. Let's grab these plates here. Will get welded, spin it round. Them plates will get welded in the end there. And that's how we bolt the conveyors together when we build our mini screens. This pallet here has also got some mini screen parts on. These D-shaped bits are what we use for fixing the vibrating motor to the screen box. That plate there is what the actual vibrating motor attaches to. We put the slots in there, and then these slots here locate in there like that, just to make it nice and strong. These ones are the covers to stop the dirt from falling onto the vibrating motors, and then there's some other components in there that make up the screen box. Mini screen trommel is finished, ready for paint. That will now get painted and the meshes will get bolted to that, and there's a video coming up in the next few days of that machine actually being assembled and put together. Just leaving the yard now. I'm heading up towards Birmingham Way. Got a couple of lads, JMO and Connor, on site. They're installing a feeder hopper and some framework for 2 augers that we've made for a customer up there in a wood recycling operation. We made it in the yard, the frame, and then we refurbished the hopper and the augers. They all got shot blasted, resprayed. Any mechanical work that needed doing got done. There was some welding work that needed doing on the hopper. We had to change the back wall on the hopper from one side to the other because they'd changed the orientation of the loading on the hopper. So I'm just on my way up there now because I need to measure the transition points between the hoppers and the augers, because we didn't know what they were going to be until it was all assembled and in place on site. So hopefully by the time I get there, JMO and Connor have got everything in place and I can measure the transition points. So this is what we've done on site. This feeder hopper here was brought in from the customer. It's been shot blasted, repainted. The back wall that you can see, the other side on the hopper, was originally this side. So we took it off this side and repositioned it on the other side. We've done some repair work inside where there was some damage through corrosion and wear. So that's all been done. It's just a belt to be fitted to that. It's had a full set of new rollers inside. And then here, these two augers that this feeder hopper feeds, they go all the way to the top up there. We've designed and built this framework for them. The hoppers have been fully refurbished as well. We've replaced some of the worn flights, checked the gearboxes, checked the bearings, had a shot blast and respray as well, and that is going up into this machine here. This is going to be processing wood chip, and the wood chip's going to go in the feeder hopper, drop out the end, fall into these two augers. So one auger will come up, feed the next auger, and then go up into this processing plant here where it's going to process the wood further. And I'm here today, I'm measuring up for the transition points there at the top. So I've got one transition point there, one transition point there between the augers, and we've also got the one to go from the end of this feeder hopper into the bottom of the auger. So that's what I'm doing now, just going to measure them up. So this is one of the transition points I was talking to you about. We've had a look at it, and because it's quite steep that side, we're going to have a plate sort of in there. It's sitting quite flat, so what we're going to do is we're going to lift the in-feed hopper up so we get a steeper angle on this chute, and that'll be some bolt-on panels that will go on there, and it will shoot all the material down into the auger here. There's going to be a belt to go round this drum up here, so the material will go in the hopper, this belt will turn this way, material will fall down into our chute that we're going to make, into the augers here, and transport all the way up there, dropping into the second auger and into the machine further on. So it's Wednesday, I'm in the car, I'm on my way over to a good customer of ours, Pioneer Plant at Corby. Good friends with the service manager over there, actually went to school with the sales director. They've got a couple of 8-ton diggers that they want a bucket ram guard making. We've done these for them before on 20, 30 and 50-ton machines, but this one's a bit smaller. This is an 8-ton machine, and it's going on the main boom cylinder, not on the bucket, which we normally do for them. So just on my way over there now to go and see them. As I say, they're a great customer of ours. They've done really well. It's a relatively young business. It's only a few years old. They've had the Devlon dealership since they started a few years ago, but they really seem to be doing really well. They've got lots of machines out. They've sold lots of machines. So let's go and have a look and see what they've got. See if we can have a walk around their yard. So this afternoon I've come to Pioneer Plant. They've got a job that they need us to have a measure up, but I thought first we'll have a look around their yard. It's always good fun to come over here. They've always got a yard full of interesting kit. So they've got some mini diggers in the yard. We've got a 6-tonner here. I think there's a 5-tonner there at the back. Some 3s, another 5-tonner, and a little micro in the middle. Now this is something I've not seen in their yard before. Little loader. Got a bucket on the front. Maybe I should tell Dave at D&J about this. He's got one very similar. Nice little machine. And next door we've got a waste material handler. Got a grab on it. So I've got a 14-ton machine here in stock. Got a quick hitch on it, so I assume that's going out to a customer. Next door to it is a 20-tonner. So this is another 20 tonner next door. And then a 14 tonner next to that. Got some pretty big buckets, similar size to the one we had in our yard the other day. Looking at that, very similar. Big ripper down here. Not sure what size machine that's off of. It's probably a 50 ton machine upwards, the same as the bucket. And then they've got a dozer here. I assume this is a trading machine, second hand. Going through the workshop, ready for sale. Just walking into their backyard, and I've come across this machine, a DL580. I think this is the biggest shovel that Devlin do. We have had one of these in our workshop before. We have had one of these in our yard before, doing different bits and bobs to it. I think we did a counterweight for once. They bought it in for us to have a measure up, to put a counterweight on the back. I think that's what we did for them. But Pioneer plants seem to have absolutely cornered the market in this area for shovels and dump trucks. I don't know how many of these I've seen go out of their gates, but every single time I come here, they've always got shovels of different sizes, all being prepared, ready to go out. And they just seem to do really well at shovels and dump trucks, as well as all the other usual machines, the diggers and everything else that they do. And sitting here on its own is a 30 ton dump truck. As I say, Pioneer plant seem to do really well out of these. Every single time I come here, there's these coming and going. Seems to be a really popular truck. Probably weren't that popular a few years ago. Mainly everything was Volvo, but these seem to be replacing Volvo machines. So obviously they're pretty good. Apparently the fuel economy on these is pretty good as well. Let us know in the comments, Volvo or Devlon, what gets your vote? This machine seems a little bit different. Zero tail swing, 20 tonner with a dozer blade. Don't think I've come across one of them for a little while. So it's Friday and we're in the yard. The sun's shining for once. We've had a lot of rain this week, but today the sun is shining and all is good. And today we're just putting the finishing touches to a mini Raptor. Now we have took some footage of this as we've been building it and assembling it, which we'll put after this bit. But we'll just do a quick walk round of what we've done here. This is the mini Raptor. This is the baby Raptor that we do. This one here is going into a plastics recycling facility, and this is going to be used to get rid of the dirt and all the small bits and rubbish that's in with the plastic chip after it's been shredded. So let's just do a quick walk round and we'll show you how this works and all the bits and bobs. So mini Raptor, the drum diameter is 1400 millimeters and the length is 2 meters long. You can have punch plates in this, or this one's actually got meshes in it. Just sitting there spinning away. Now this is the in-feed end. So the material goes in there. We've got grizzly bars on it, so any oversize that's trying to get in there doesn't get in. So that just keeps all the oversize out. Anybody that's seen Dave at D&J, he's had a higher Trommel before he had his Trommel. And it's the same model as this, but this one has got a few tweaks and changes. This is in customers' colours. Customers asked to have it in John Deere green, which has caused a bit of a stir in the workshop because some of the lads in the workshop prefer the green to the blue. So that's caused me a few issues this week. Other things that we've got on here, this doesn't have a control panel. We normally put a control panel on here, but the customer's going to integrate this into a much bigger plant, so they've asked us not to do the control panel for that reason, because they're going to wire it in themselves. Now this has also got a vibrating motor at the bottom of the hopper, so that any material that tries to get lodged in the bottom, the vibrating motor will shake it free. And it's a direct drive motoring gearbox. Now what is different about this trommel to all of our other trommels, this one has got a central shaft running through it. So the central shaft is there instead of the normal setup that we do, which is 4 wheels. Normally you'd have a wheel in here and a wheel at the other end, so it sits on 4 wheels, but this one's different. We do a central shaft on this to make it nice and compact, because the wheels can be a bit bulky when you start going to smaller trommels. So this is how we do it on this one. You can see the in-feed the other end. Material goes in there, comes down the chute into the trommel. At the other end of the trommel we've got angled plates that you can probably just about make out. And what they do is, as the material goes in, those angled plates, they bring the material this way so the material doesn't build up on the in-feed end. So that's the Mini Raptor, and now we'll show you some footage of how it was built and how it was assembled. And we've set the GoPro up so you can see how this is assembled. So we've got the actual main chassis just there. We've got the hopper just here behind us. And if I flip the camera around, we've got the drum here, ready to go in. Shaft just needs securing inside with the taper locks, and then that's ready to go in. So let's get the GoPro running on a time lapse, and you can see how it all gets put together. So that went well, customers happy, really impressed with it. They actually were surprised on how good it came out in green, to be honest, which was a bit of a surprise considering it was their colours. As I say, it's caused a bit of a stir in the workshop, having green. So yeah, not unhappy with the colour, obviously not our colours, but it could have been a lot worse a colour, so all good. So it's Wednesday morning, I'm in the workshop. I've got some meetings this morning out, but I thought I'd better just come and have a look around the workshop before I go. And the lads are back working on the mobile picking line. So I'll just spin the camera around and I'll show you what we're doing on this. So this is the mobile picking line. I think we've covered this in previous episodes. And this is going to be the frame. If you look on some of our socials, there is actually a rendered image of this finished. So we've got the frame fabricated now. These bits on top are the actual conveyor. So let's just run you through how this is going to work. And you're going to have to use your imagination on this so you can see how this is going to work. So on this end here, this is going to have this drawbar put in here, and that will fit in this end. So the entire picking line will be towed from this end, and then on the other end there's two wheels, which is what the lads are putting on now. So when this is done, there'll be a hopper here and a conveyor belt that will go up. And then both sides of here, there'll be some steps coming down here, and on the other side some steps, and inside here will be a picking cabin. So the conveyor belt will go up and material will get loaded on this end and come up the conveyor here over the top, and on here there's already some holes in the frame. So you've got this hole here and that hole just there, and people will stand inside here, inside a cabin. It'll all be fully enclosed, and they'll stand in the cabin and pick the different waste streams that come up. So you might have this bay here, for instance. This guy might be picking off wood, this guy here might be picking off paper or plastic or whatever, and it will fall through into bins below the picking line. And then when it's done, at the end here we will have a magnet, probably about here somewhere, and it's what's called an overband magnet, and basically it's a big magnet with a conveyor belt running around it. So as the material comes up the belt, anything that's magnetic will get stuck to the magnet, and the conveyor belt will clear it off and throw it to the side. Then everything that's left will then get discharged off the end of the conveyor here and fall onto the floor. So these panels here that are actually just stacked on the side of the frame at the minute, they are actually the conveyor. That is actually the picking line that is going to be made up and actually form the conveyor for the picking line. So we're going to film more of this as we continue the build. The plan now is to probably get it on its wheels, which is what the lads are doing now. And then we're going to build this conveyor up and put it on. And then we're going to look at doing the canopy, and get all the canopy done, get it clad, and then get it all painted, and then we can finish off with all the other bits and bobs. So the lads over here, they are just about to weld the stub axles onto the mounting plates, and these stub axles is what the wheel goes onto. So the wheel will bolt onto there, and then they will get welded down the other end of the picking line. And the people doing it is Archie and Dan. We got desperate this morning. There's nobody else here. Dan's the man. I'd also like to just take this opportunity to thank everybody that has watched. When we first started this YouTube journey, didn't quite know how it was going to go, whether it would be of interest to people, whether people would watch it. And the first episode, as of filming now, is over 7,000 views, which compared to some channels is not a lot, but for a new start, I think that's pretty good going. I said when we did it, if we got 1,000 views, I'd be happy with that. So to get to over 7,000 on the first episode, that is pretty good. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everybody for watching, everybody that's subscribed, and the ones that are watching and haven't subscribed. Why haven't you? It doesn't cost you anything, and it means a lot to us. So if you're watching this video now, please like, and if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. If you leave a comment, all comments are greatly received,
It'll either be myself or Andrea that will respond to those comments. I know that sometimes the camera's up in the sky, or I'll cut somebody's head off and it's not polished as some people can do on YouTube. We know that, but it's not. You're not watching this because you want to watch great edited, great audio footage. You're probably watching it because you're actually interested in engineering and you actually want to watch a company that does actually design and build stuff here in the UK. That's probably what you're interested in. So if you're watching their videos and sometimes the camera angle's a bit skew whiff or the audio's not great, bear with us, because I think over time you'll see that we are getting the drop on this job and it is improving over time. But ultimately, I'd like to think that the content is what people are interested in. We always welcome comments from viewers, subscribers that have got ideas. Is there a part of what we do that you want to see more of? Is there something that we don't show that you would like to know more about? Or should we expand on the content that we are putting out there? I think you'll notice in this episode, compared to previous episodes, I've gone more in depth into the machines that we're working on or building, how they work, how we put them together. And we'll also start to talk about the processes behind how things are built, the welding process, the cutting process on the Catava CNC plasma cutter, possibly the brake press, and some of the other specialist equipment that we use to build these machines.
So we're Thursday morning and I'm on my way up to Nottinghamshire. I've got a customer visit to go and look at a new job, and then I thought whilst I'm up this way we've got a repair to do for Dave at D&J Projects, so I'm going to call round to his yard and sort that out for him on his shredder. And whilst I'm up there, I've not actually had a chance to catch up with Dave. Now, if you're new to this channel or you don't know who D&J Projects are, we've recently done a Trommel screen for those guys up there. We've designed and built it for them. It's a new model for us. We've documented the build, the design, the build and the installation for them, and it's on another video. If you look on our channel, you should be able to find it. And whilst I'm there, I'm going to collar him because I want some feedback and find out how he's getting on with it. The good, the bad and the ugly. I'm going to interview Dave and get his genuine thoughts on what he thinks to his new Trommel. So I've come up to D&J Projects this afternoon. We've got nobody else available in the workshop. We've got people on holiday this week, people doing installs. So I've come up here and done this job myself. Now, if anybody's watched Dave's channel, you see this bit just here actually snapped on Dave's new shredder. He's obviously got too much power in the engine and he couldn't take it. So I've come up here just to run a few runs of weld around it. It's not pretty, it's been bodged in the past, it's been bodged again today, which is the nature of the beast. Sometimes you do end up doing a temporary repair, which is also known as a bodge. So this has had a temporary repair on it, and I've just popped the belts back on, and now we're going to run it up just to see how it runs. So you can see I've welded that in there. I ground it out as best as I could. It's probably had about 5 or 6 runs around there, so it's probably got more on it than it had before. But as I say, it's a temporary repair. Dave's got a heap of wood that he needs to shred, and then once he's got through that, he's going to bring it into us. We will cut this back off and put a new taper lock. That's a taper lock there, and somebody's welded that in, and they've welded it inside. I've welded it again inside, so hopefully it will last to get through the heap that he's got, and then it can come into us, and then we'll gouge the welds out, replace it all, put a new taper lock in there and make good. And he also wants us to make some modifications to the top of the hopper, have it so there's a hinge flap up there, and we will also put some steps down here so it's easier to load the wood in the top. So there'll be a platform here and a step, and when we do it, we'll put it on camera. So we've got this finished up now, got the covers back on, buttoned it up, and the bit that I would have bought on this, and I can see why Dave's bought it, V8 cat engine. Listen to that. So V8 cat engine, Smoke comes as standard on these, but let me rev it up and you'll see what I mean. What a beast. Okay, so whilst we're here up at Dave at D&J Projects today, fixing his shredder, I thought I'd grab Dave and just get his thoughts on his latest purchase, which is the Trommel behind us. I'm quite interested to know how you're getting on with it, because we've not really spoke since we delivered it. So, how's it gone?
So much wet weather.
Yes.
And we have been putting a wet material through. We did do some yesterday as well, and as you can see, we're still getting a decent product out of it.
That is quite good, actually.
Yeah.
Because you've got some quite heavy ground in this neck of the woods, haven't you?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Nottingham is obviously the clay centre of the universe, and you seem to get it all in this yard.
Literally, we're putting that through there, which is all dead clumpy.
Yeah.
And it's coming out like that. The only thing we have had to do is take the shoots off.
Yeah.
Because we're
just
clogging up
just clogging up.
Too wet. Just too wet.
You probably get in the summer when it's a bit drier.
Yeah.
And you'll probably find that you can get them back on there and then split the products, can't you?
Grade it then, like it was. But yeah, we're screening a product and getting a nice sellable product where we wouldn't normally at this time of year. So we've got the edge on our competitors.
Good. And how many tons do you reckon you've done since you've had the machine, roughly?
We've filled the bay up 3 times, so there's probably 60 ton in the bay.
So you've done the best part of 200 tons since you've had it.
And like I keep on emphasising, the weather's been terrible.
Yeah, it's been a really wet
we've had
year,
3 decent days where it's red hot sunshine, and it was a dream. It pumped it out. It filled the bay within, I say, 4 hours.
Really?
Yeah.
So do you think the output of the Trommel is more than the mini screen, or are they a good match?
It's a good match.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because I know what sort of output would you have had in the mini screen before? I know some people that have said they'll do 30-35 tons an hour.
So we used to clear, if the material was right and it was dry, the grab would hold 16 ton, we'd clear that in 20 minutes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So yeah, 35, 40 tons
And it would
an
come
hour.
out clean that side as well, so you get a product out there.
So it is weather dependent on the output. Because I know we get asked a lot about the output of the screens, and I've always said it's about 35 tons an hour, because that's the feedback that I've had from customers.
Yeah.
But it shows that if conditions are right and you can keep the material moving and clear your belts and clear the chutes.
Wet material through like that, that probably took us 20 minutes, that heat there.
Yeah.
So what's it there, about 6 ton.
Yeah.
So it does.
So when it's wet, it does. It's
still screenable though. It's
you're still producing a product. So, if you were going to criticise the Trommel, what would you say is the bits that we need to improve as a manufacturer? And you've got to say something. You can't just say it's perfect, because people think I've made it up.
But it's down to wet material. It's the belt scrapers. That's the only thing we found. The belt scrapers. And obviously then wheels clogging up, but that's the only thing.
Yeah.
I can't fault it, to be fair. You nearly nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Considering that it was a new model for us, we always accept some teething problems or something that we need to probably change and address.
Still thinking, and obviously I can't think of anything. Like I say, it's just that scraper there doesn't drop onto the belt. Onto the deck.
So we could probably move. We could probably move that further up.
Yeah. So it dropped on here.
So you
don't get into that mess there.
Yeah, I did notice that was filling up between the machines.
Height thing's a bit of a problem for us, but you can't run them both like that without.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, if you didn't have the height, I suppose you'd have to have a conveyor in between them, but.
And that's the thing, and that's why we did the jack legs, so that it did all work. But then you end up with a high infeed. You can't have it always, can you?
Apart from that, Gavin, it's absolutely brilliant. Money well spent.
Good. And do you think it's a good payback period on the machine? You know, investment-wise.
Investment-wise, I think we'll make that back within a year.
Yeah.
A good season.
So that's pretty good then. Most people say 2 years on a machine.
We've got a good client base, which. Obviously the wait for soil and the queue up for soil.
Yeah.
And we couldn't make it quick enough, and now we can make it. Obviously this is the most we've had in the bay since we've had that machine.
Yeah. That's good. Okay, well, thank you for the business, and thank you for the honest review.
And you put me on the spot.
I did put you on the spot. Not very often
Well, that's honest. I like that.
Not very often we find Dave short for words, but yeah, I think we probably were there. So I'm just on the way out from Dave's at D&J, and look who's here. It is the professional struggler himself. Flipping round.
Oh, what's that again? Hi guys, it is I, the struggler, struggling away. Gavin's even joined the struggle today, people. Thank you, Gavin.
So what are we on today then, Chris?
This is for my mower. This is the belt that's gone. Well, today I've been fixing that thing there.
Just fixing Dave's new purchase.
What he bought from eBay. And it turned out that the motor was going the wrong way because the wires were the wrong way around. Wasn't it, Gavin?
It was. And you've also worked out that the generator's not quite big enough to power it.
Yes, that's it. That's not big enough to power that, so you need to power it.
It's plugging into the mains.
And we've also figured out that the switch is faulty as well on it. So there's multiple problems, really.
And you're back here tomorrow fixing stuff.
I am back. I've got to come back here tomorrow, mate, now, because I've got a centre bearing to do. With Leader, obviously. Like and subscribe to Gavin's
Like and
channel.
subscribe also to Chris's channel, Professional Struggler.
That's it.
Because
Struggle, guys.
he needs all the help. He's not got enough subscribers, so.
I haven't, mate. You are. I need more input on the comments, guys. What I'm doing wrong.
I can give you some input, Chris. Don't worry.
Isn't it, Dave? But I can be input. Yeah, I've got to
Milk
do.
green.
I've got a
Milk
bad
green.
back.
What's that advert off?
I've got a bad back to drink too much, apparently.
Stanley, who are they?
Exactly. Yeah, I remember that, mate. Baxenden boys there from Accrington. Yeah, Baxenden boys from Accrington, Stanley.
If you don't know who they are.
Oh yeah, they are lot.
Bit of free advertising.
We have died Baxenden boys.
Right, I'm going to leave you to it. I'll see you soon, Chris.
Right, go and see you a bit, mate.
Cheers, mate. Just on my way back to the yard now after visiting D&J Projects. Bumped into the struggler, as you saw. He really is as mad as a box of frogs in real life as he is on YouTube. So I'm going to head back to the yard now, see what the lads are getting on with, and see how progress is getting on with the mobile picking line. So let's go and have a look. So it's Friday morning, I'm back in the yard. Didn't manage to get back last night because there was traffic on the M1, so I was back late. But just back in the yard now. Let's have a little wander and see what we've got going on in here, and then we'll see how they're getting on with the picking line. So I'm just in metal cutting at the minute. I'll just spin the camera around. We've got some aluminium components cut here. I've got a friend of mine who took early retirement and moved to Dorset, and he's asked for some aluminium steps on a picking line for one of his customers. So these are the components for that. We did actually get some GoPro footage of these being cut, which we'll slip in now for you so you can see how they got cut. We've also got, that's been delivered yesterday, some bucket edges and also some bucket pins. We've got some buckets in for repair from one of our plant hire customers. So they'll probably be in the next few videos as we go through them, and I think they're having new floors, new cutting edges by the looks of it. So we'll get them on camera so you can see how they get repaired. We've got these here, checker plate, which I'm assuming these must be the steps for the mobile picking line. So they're going to be going on the mobile picking line, which is in the workshop next door. Just walking around the main workshop. Still got some box section there ready to be made up into some more mini screen frames. We've got some side sections for the actual screen box themselves. They've been folded, ready to be fabricated. We've got what we call the cassettes, which is the bit that goes inside the mini screens that the actual mesh clamps to the top of. So there's two there been made up. Got another stillage with more components on. What's in there? That's all side covers for conveyors and greedy boards for the side. And then I think you saw some of these components the other day. They're now all been put together. Probably recognise these from a previous video. And we've got a box made up. This is obviously upside down. That's the cassettes inside that I was showing you a minute ago. These here, they fit inside the deck. This is obviously upside down. The mesh is clamped to the top of that, so there's 2 layers here and here, so it's a double deck. So you can get 2 meshes in our mini screens. And then that there is the tube that the vibrating motor mounts on. And the mobile picking line is taking shape as well. I think the last time you saw this, it was just the bare frame with the side panel stacked on top. And we've now got it together. We've got the walkways on top. A couple of picking bins each side, here and here. So you can now see this is now taken to shape, and although I said last time, probably use your imagination of how this is all going to work, well, you can probably see it a bit better now. So we'll have a tail drum here, and the conveyor will run across the top, all the way up and along the top. And the idea is that you load the waste on here, and then the operators, they stand on this platform next to the picking bins, and they physically pick off the different waste streams. So it's a way of sorting the waste streams. If you think what you put in your recyclable bin at home, it all gets chucked in, all the tin cans, the plastics, the paper and everything else. Well, it would go on a similar machine to this. It would all get put on at one end, and then the operators would, you know, this guy here, he would probably pick off all the cardboard. The guy next to it, he would probably pick off all the plastic, and then what's left will get discharged at the end. But as I say, this will have an overband magnet just here somewhere. That will pick off all the ferrous metal by using the magnet, and then what's left will get discharged at the end. So we're going to film more of this in the coming weeks as this gets done. The next job for this is to actually put the cabin over the top, so there'll be a whole like building in effect put on top of this for the operators to stand in. This one I think is potentially sold and might even have air conditioning in there just for the operators. So we'll keep filming this as we go, and you'll see it slowly take shape. Looking here in the backyard, we've got this has just been bought out into the backyard. These are going to be the hangers for the next batch of mini screens that are being made. So these have all been tacked up. They'll now be welded up and painted, ready to go on the mini screens. Another delivery, not sure what that is. And these here are finished painted side panels for more mini screens that we're building. So these are the conveyor sections, the side sections. We've also got head and tail sections over there. Back covers here. And in the paint booth, we've got Connor just about to put some paint on these 2 frames. These are mini screen frames. One of these is actually already sold. This one's going to be a bit special. It's having an extra long conveyor on it. Okay, that's it for episode 3. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. We've got over 18,000 subscribers now, so 18,000 people can't be wrong. We'll see you in the next episode. Click here for a previous episode, and we'll see you soon. Line. And the people doing it is Archie and Dan. We got desperate this morning. There's nobody else here. Dan's the man. These 2 lads here are 2nd year apprentice Dan and 3rd year apprentice Archie. They're both completely natural on camera. Dan's got his own OnlyFans channel, so look him up and check him out, because he needs subscribers, so let's G him up a little bit. But yeah, give it a little Mohican. See, this is what we do the thumb, and then because I just start talking, and then
You picked the windiest place.
it's like, oh, hang on a minute. No, we got the fluffy bit on.
That sheltered a bit.
There you go. That's better.
Just going to make the outtakes.
This will be the outtakes at the end. This will, yeah. Okay. We've also got an interview with Dave at D&J Projects to find out what he really thinks of the latest Trommel that he's just bought, and I get to meet another YouTuber. And I can't remember what I was going to say after that. Oh yes.